The Stridsvagn 121B Christian 2 is one of those tanks that's interesting in real life, but doesn't translate over well to War Thunder. Normally I start these reviews off with some history of the vehicle, but in the case of the Christian 2, when you try googling it, all that comes up is either information about its War Thunder counterpart, or people talking about how they won it in War Thunder. So I'll try to piece together what I've found. In 1994, Sweden ordered a bunch of Leopard 2A5s, also known as the STRV 122. Sweden wasn't going to receive their full order for a while, so they also rented a bunch of already made Leopard 2A4s, also known as the STRV 121. Sometime between 1994 and 2009, Sweden took one of these STRV 121s and tried upgrading it to the level of a 122. From what I've been able to find, this involved completely changing out the electronics, adding things like rear view cameras, new smoke launcher, new tail lights, a new command system. You know, a bunch of stuff that really doesn't have a tangible effect in War Thunder. This sole prototype was given the name STRV 121B, also known as the Christian II or Christian II, named after a Scandinavian king of the same name from the 1500s. Sweden deemed this upgrade to be too expensive, so they never made more than one. Using the Christian II in War Thunder is basically the same thing as using a Leopard 2A4 or an STRV 121. It's a rank 7 10.3 battle rating medium tank in the Swedish tech tree. Across 97 matches, I had a 55% win rate with a 1.3 KD. Honestly, while using it, I thought I did a lot worse in this tank than I actually did. I felt underpowered nearly the entire time that I used it, but I'll talk about why later in this review. Maybe you'll see why as I cover the stats of the 121B, as always, starting from the back. There you'll find the same 1500 horsepower Euro power pack that's found in most Leopards. You get decent acceleration out of it with the top speed of 42 miles per hour and a max reverse of 19 miles per hour. It's a pretty big boy, so if you get hit anywhere in the back half of this tank, you're not going anywhere for a while. Moving up, you have fuel tanks basically surrounding the crew. Thankfully, none of them are in the crew compartment, with 2 of them being in the rear next to the engine and 2 more being external on the upper sides of the hull. So unless you run out of FP, you're going to be fine for a while. Moving up to the front of the hull, you still have that giant shell rack that you should never put anything into right next to the driver. Thankfully, you do have some added upper and lower front plate protection, but at 2 to 300mm thick, it's only strong enough to stop autocannons, so you need to hide your hull as much as possible. You don't even have the same luxury on the side with anywhere from 40 to 70mm of protection. Autocannons will be disastrous if they hit you there. Moving up to the turret, you have some okay protection from the front, which averages anywhere from 400 to 450mm thick. Although there are plenty of weak spots on the right side of the turret where the commander is. The side of the turret is strong enough to stop autocannons, but not really much else, being only 200mm thick. From the rear, for both the turret and the hull, just forget about it. You have so little armor there that someone might be able to stare their way through it. For offense, the 121B is on par with other tanks of this BR, but for some reason I noticed that I'm getting either a lot of non-pins or ricochets in particular with it. The tank features the 120mm Rheinmetall L44, and its best round is the DM23 Dart, which has a max pin of 410mm. Thankfully, since this tank is premium, you get that round right away. You do also get access to DM13 and an HE shell, but I wouldn't recommend bringing either of those. Being a copy of a 2A4, you can carry up to 42 shells. The first 15 are stored safely in the turret, and if you're crazy enough to take any more, the remaining 27 are stored down the hull. Personally, I take the 15 in the turret and another 5 in the hull, only because I've never had my turret ammo popped as much as I do in this tank. It happens at least once every 2 or 3 games, so I bring some extra that I can use after getting hit in the turret. Personally, I wouldn't recommend the Christian II as your first high-tier premium Swedish tank. Having access to both it and the CV90-105, I found myself going for the CV first in basically every situation. Even though the CV only has a 105mm cannon, its DM33 performs almost the same as the DM23 on the Christian II. The CV also gets access to the Falleric 105 tandem ATGM, and I haven't seen anything survive a hit from that. The CV is also faster, has better thermals, has better reward multipliers, has a laser warning receiver, and it has light tank bonuses, such as access to scouting, a scout UAV, and the ability to lower the spawn costs of your aircraft. Not to mention, it's also a cheaper pack to buy. Really, the only thing that the Christian 2 has over the CV90-105 is better turret armor. The big reason why I used the Christian 2 over the CTCV-105 HP in most situations was only because the Christian 2 is a premium. If you're looking to pick up your first high-tier Swedish tank, then you should get the CV90-105 instead. If you're looking to get your second Swedish high-tier tank, it's kind of a toss-up between the Christian 2 and the CTCV off of the player market. If you don't have access to the player market or the Christian 2 is on sale, then you should get it. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.